Investigative journalist George Knapp will be featured in an upcoming Netflix docuseries titled Investigation Alien, where he reveals the findings of his 30-year quest investigating UFOs and brings forward never-before-seen evidence. This docuseries will be released on November 8th, just 5 days prior to the planned UFO hearing with Chairwoman Nancy Mace. We have some hints about what kind of new evidence this docuseries will unveil. On August 13th, George Knapp shared some rather interesting information with Jeremy Corbell in an audio-only version of their podcast, Weaponized. It's clear he's discussing his time filming the upcoming docuseries. Listen to this closely.
You have some things that will be coming out, and I know you kind of can't talk about it right now, but like you've been very active over the last like 6, 9, 12 months. You got a project that will be coming out, right?
Yeah, I can't say a darn thing about it, but it's involved a lot of travel, meeting with a lot of people. It'll be a big deal, I think, when it comes out. You're involved with it as well. And I don't want to be excessively mysterious about it, but I just can't say anything. But I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to push the ball forward a lot. But the downside of it is, after another intense year of UFO work and UFO activity and traveling around the world and wearing my old body out, you do approach sort of a burnout factor. Mm-hmm. So we've had to, at least for me, I needed to take some time away from this a little bit, just when I'm not actively traveling somewhere to record this or that, to separate myself and take a break.
Yeah. I'm not proactively like posting anything right now. I'm really trying to relax my mind and do the work, and so I'm going to play the investigative reporter here. So I'd assume, George Knapp, that what it is you're putting out will be a filmed product. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a visual medium. Okay. I'll put it that way.
That I'm very excited for whatever it is that you're going to be putting out to the world. Watching you, hunt the UFO thing and getting your perspective is I think going to be very cool for everybody that gets to watch. So that's great. I can't wait. Let us know when you can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm dying to tell it, because I've shared some things with you privately about a material that was obtained, mm-hmm. and I think it's going to make a splash, don't you think? Literally.
So, it appears that George is referencing material consisting of a video of a transmedium craft. He mentioned that he thinks it's going to make a splash, literally. This splash reference seems to point to the transmedium vehicle. He also stated that he believes this project will be a big deal when it comes out and that it will push the ball forward significantly. Here's another segment from the Weaponized episode that supports my belief that George is hinting at a new video of a transmedium UAP being released by the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think being that he is military-minded and a patriot, it's like he's very disturbed with the fact if we don't know who is operating what he says are these units, which, go into the water and out of the water, which is kind of neat, and we'll hear more about that.
Yeah, so, there's going to be a development on that. The world has been waiting for USO video or a transmedium vehicle. We've heard these rumors about this giant flying triangle comes out of the water. I've never seen that video.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who has. We keep hearing about it. But there is video of what appears to be a transmedium vehicle, and I hope by the end of the year it's going to be made public.
Me too, man.
I'm really looking forward to this docuseries. George Knapp is someone who has the connections, knowledge, and journalistic expertise to guide a docuseries into uncharted territory that could indeed push the ball forward and pressure the US government to stop withholding the truth about our place in the universe. Let's dive deeper into what this docuseries will encompass. Now, as I understand it, George Knapp traveled all around in the creation of this docuseries for around 12 grueling months. And in the following clip from the same podcast episode I shared earlier clips from, George Knapp goes into some of his experience and the importance of boots on the ground talking to witnesses and getting a direct experience of various UFO cases that have occurred.
I mean, look, you've called me like, I'm in Brazil, because video will work sometimes when you're traveling or whatever. But I mean, you've really traveled a lot of places. So, all these years that you've done the UFO thing, is it important to travel and do that and talk with people on the ground in different countries?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. You need to get to the scene of where these things happen to get an understanding of it. Track down original witnesses for cases, incidents that are well known, but really not well understood. Things that we went to go take a look at in Brazil, for example. I've seen documents that have not been made public. I've seen a lot of reports. I've read public source information about things that had happened. But I think the public's going to get a different take on it. And it shocked me for how different reality is on the ground in places like that than what I've read for all these years.
Since George Knapp spent time in Brazil, I imagine he will cover the Colartus UFO event series. And I'll just share a excerpt from Lou Elizono's book, Imminent, which gives a rundown of essentially what it encompasses. And I quote, "I learned that in the mid-1970s, for several years running, people living along the coasts of northeastern Brazil noticed strange lights and aircraft that buzzed their small towns and villages at night. The objects ranged in size from baseball-sized orbs to huge aircraft that looked as if they could transport the occupants of an entire city. Flying discs, spheres, triangles, cylinders. The variety of the objects ran the gamut. Citizens in these rural villages were unaccustomed to nighttime illumination beyond the lights of passing cars and trucks. Now suddenly, a villager walking to visit a neighbor after dark might be bathed in the glow of something massive hovering in the sky. For centuries, humans all over the planet have reported such things, but in Brazil, these flying phenomena seem to be targeting human beings." So I really look forward to that presumed segment of his upcoming docuseries where he covers the Colartus UFO event series. Here's a screenshot from the trailer of this upcoming docuseries, and I suspect that this is an image from when this UFO event series took place of a young woman and an injury that she endured from one of these UAPs. So let's dive into some of the teasers in the actual trailer. George Knapp stated, "You are what we would classify as a whistleblower." And the whistleblower responded, "Yes, that would be exactly what I am." And then George Knapp responded, "I want to be able to share this with the world. How can we help you break this story?" So that's interesting. Apparently there will be a whistleblower in this upcoming docuseries, and what that will entail, we're just going to have to wait until November 8th, but it should be interesting. In another segment of the docuseries, George Knapp stated, "What happened in Phoenix was seen by thousands of people," and to which a witness responded, "Federal agents were confiscating videos afterwards," presumably videos of the actual Phoenix Lights event. And this just demonstrates that George Knapp traveled to various places to talk with witnesses from various UFO cases, and if there's anyone capable of going into new territory, finding out new stuff regarding old cases, old but relevant cases, George Knapp is definitely one of those people. In the final component of the trailer, someone says, "There will be some information that's going to be put out. It will shock the world." Of course, I have no idea what he's referencing, but that is, of course, a very intriguing thing for someone to say. And there was a screenshot of Chris Mellon. So Chris Mellon's going to be in this docuseries. And then there were some other researchers that were quickly displayed in the trailer who are also going to be in this docuseries. I think it's going to be a very encompassing docuseries that is going to be layered and textured and sophisticated. Not a cheaply done or generic docuseries on UFOs. I think it's going to be serious business because, well, frankly, George Knapp is involved. And I know what a lot of people will say or think. They'll say or think, well, great, another docuseries. Why can't we just get disclosure? Why can't we just get the scientific smoking gun that will lead to a worldwide discussion of the alleged fact that we are not alone in the universe and we're being engaged by non-human intelligence? And I think that's a fair complaint. But my response to that would be, look, disclosure is a process. It is not an event. UFO confirmation is an event. I would make a distinction between UFO disclosure as a process and confirmation as that moment in time where it's scientifically confirmed on a scientific epistemological level. But the point is that, in my opinion, it is inevitable that we will get UFO confirmation. And that's not wishful thinking. It's simple common sense. If there truly is a presence in our biosphere engaging the human species, and there is smoking gun evidence of it within the confines of the Department of Defense and aerospace companies, that cannot stay insulated indefinitely, and there will be some kind of admission at some point from the U.S. government, from other governments. So based upon that, yes, we will get confirmation at some point. But when we do get confirmation, if we do, which I think is inevitable, we're all going to look back at moments like this with, for example, the upcoming hearing that's slated for November 13th, or the upcoming docuseries that where George Knapp is going to be featured that's slated for November 8th. And we're going to realize in retrospect how important these events were. So you're not the smartest person in the room or the most rational person because you downplay everything that is leading up to confirmation. You just don't have the vision. You just don't see what's right in front of your nose. And that's all I got to say about that. Here's a clip from October 11th where News Nation correspondent Joe Khalil gives us an update on the upcoming UFO hearing that will be chaired by Nancy Mace that's slated for November 13th.
Of those agenda items, we've confirmed that both in the House and in the Senate, there are currently being planned hearings on this topic. In the House, it should be in the House Oversight Committee, which is the same committee, by the way, that held that blockbuster hearing last year. You're seeing images of it right now featuring that whistleblower David Grush, who came forward on News Nation first. It's going to be a little bit of different players, but some of the same lawmakers. This time around, Congresswoman Nancy Mace is going to be leading this hearing. November 13th was their goal date, but I'm told that's not set in stone yet. I have spoken to Congresswoman Mace about this. She says there are still a couple of witnesses that they want to pin down. They didn't give any details yet about what they're going to want to focus on, but she said the witness list still in flux, partly because they don't want to reveal who they may be talking to in fear of those people being potentially intimidated out of testifying at some point.
The only witness I'm confident is going to be involved is former Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet. I suspect Lou Elizondo will also be a witness, but it does sound like there will be other witnesses that maybe we have no knowledge of that will be heavy hitters. Joe Khalil did say that Nancy Mace has a couple witnesses that she and her colleagues want to pin down. And he mentioned that she doesn't want to speak publicly about these witnesses out of concern that they may be intimidated, which is well documented. David Grush has been intimidated. Others have been intimidated. The Department of Defense and other interests do not want people coming forward on this. Why? Well, in my opinion, it's pretty obvious because they're covering it up and they don't want the public to have awareness on what's going on. Here's a clip from October 8th with host Chris Cuomo and guest Jeremy Corbell. And in the opening of this clip, Jeremy Corbell is referencing the UFO reconnaissance program, codenamed Immaculate Constellation. And this clip will give us further insight into what the upcoming November 13th hearing with Nancy Mace may encompass.
And there's a lot more to learn about this program and others directly from people involved.
Give me some of the right questions.
Okay, some of the right questions. Look, we have whistleblowers who are coming forward, hopefully on November 13th, which is the next set of congressional hearings on UAP, which I have personally walked people into members' offices for private meetings so they could see eye to eye and they could meet and they could know what the potential for informing the American public is about this cover-up. This is about crimes of secrecy. It's about obfuscating the legal and necessary transparency to the American public, as well as just to the oversight and accountability.
So both Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp have played a role in helping to assist members of Congress to facilitate this upcoming hearing slated for November 13th. And you have journalist Michael Schellenberger, who broke the story on the illegal or alleged illegal UFO program codenamed Immaculate Constellation. You have the upcoming docuseries on November 8th featuring George Knapp. You also have an upcoming documentary with Lou Elizondo that is produced by Dan Farah. You also have something that is said to occur before the year is over, and this was foretold by analyst Matthew Pines. He said someone is going to come forward that if you watch the news, you will recognize that will very publicly support the allegations made by David Grush. He called it a coup de grace, which means like final blow, like putting it to rest, making it clear what's going on. The ultimate pushback against the false narrative the Pentagon, the intelligence agencies, the CIA have been selling the American public and the world population for decades about UFOs. And so what is the significance of all this? The significance of all this is that imagine if everyone I just cited wasn't a part of the equation. It would be so much easier for the U.S. government to lie to the public about UFOs. So no matter what criticisms you have for any of these people, some of those criticisms may be legitimate. You know, the world is not black and white. They're still doing legwork that's absolutely necessary to hold the U.S. government accountable for the lies that they have told to the American public for so long about the true nature of UFOs. And if there's one thing that the disclosure process and UFO confirmation is going to teach humanity, it's going to teach humanity about nuance. It would be so, if you really did not, let me put it this way. If you did not want to believe that there's a conspiracy, that there's a cover-up, and that the U.S. government has been covering up UFOs for decades, you could easily look for information to support that perspective and feel confident in your analysis. Alternatively, if you wanted to believe that there is a cover-up, the U.S. government has been lying about UFOs, engaging in disinformation campaigns, and intentionally ridiculing the topic, which is true, that's been documented. But if you wanted to enforce the belief that UFOs, some of them, do stem from non-human intelligence and the American government is covering up, you could easily find enough information to also support that perspective. The disclosure process, UFO confirmation, is going to teach humanity about nuance, because it's very difficult, it could be argued, to navigate all this information and come to the most objective perspective, because there's been fraud, there's been hoaxes, there's been misunderstandings, there's been exaggerations when it comes to UFOs, and there's also been blatant lies that can be documented by the U.S. government in very highly credible UFO events throughout history that can be documented, even if they fall short of smoking gun evidence that would put this debate to rest. So I anticipate that as we move closer to a post-disclosure world and beyond, humanity will learn to be better critical thinkers and realize that Sometimes stuff is just really complex, and you have to learn how to navigate all this in the most objective way possible. And in my opinion, when you look at the full body of data and evidence going back 70 plus years, in my subjective opinion, the strongest analysis is that some UFOs simply probably do stem from non-human intelligence, that there's been an active cover-up. But we'll see. We'll see the stories still being told, and we'll see who comes out as the best analysts when it comes to this topic. And I have a lot more stuff I want to publish. I've been working on a follow-up to my other video the video that I published most recently, where I went into Michael Schellenberger's story about the UFO program codenamed Immaculate Constellation. I have a follow-up for that. I have a lot planned, so please do not forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You could become a patron. You could become a YouTube member. You could give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities can be accessed in the description box below, or you could just slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.